Hello, and welcome to the final pod swap of my wedding takeover, basically. This is going to be the last swap episode interview that I'm resharing on The Unprofessional Entrepreneur for the time being. And I knew I wanted to end with a bang, so you are getting the episode I did on Read the Podcast with Rachel and Ellie called Your Content Repurposing Strategy with Felly Day. I personally love doing an interview where the show has two hosts. It creates such a different conversation than the back and forth we usually hear on podcasts because you can have two very, very different opinions coming at you as the guest. So I'm not going to give any spoilers or share any of what we talked about besides repurposing being the focus, but you can dive into the episode and let me know how you feel after the fact.
Hello and welcome to RE the podcast.
The podcast for small business owners by small business owners.
I'm Rachel Emma Waring. I'm a creative marketing consultant and I help creative founders radiate online and stand out in a sea of same.
And I'm Ellie Kime, founder of Ellen and Molly, where I help you uncover the person in your personal brand using your words, helping you borrow my confidence until you have some of your own. I also run a platform called The Enthusiast & Co, where I encourage people to be more unapologetically and unabashedly enthusiastic.
Join us for informal chats and expert interviews around everything that it takes to be a small business owner, the ups and downs, and everything we're learning along the way.
Make sure to sign up wherever you get your podcasts for our weekly episodes.
And if you fancy some more RE the podcast in between episodes, you can check us out on Instagram at RE the podcast or on our Substack, repodcast.co.uk, where you can see all of our show notes and also subscribe to our emails. Today, we have Felly Day on the podcast to talk about content repurposing, unprofessional entrepreneurship, and being a self-projected projector. What was that? Was that what she said?
Unexpected human design chat, but I was here for it. It was very, very fun.
I love that's like the business owner version of unexpected item in the baggage area. Unexpected human design chat.
Look, it pops up everywhere.
It was super fun to talk to Felly about content repurposing. I feel like it's one of, well, you say this in the episode, spoiler alert, but I feel like it's one of those things that everyone knows that they should do, thinks that they should do, but doesn't quite know how to approach it because it feels terrifying and scary and awful. So I loved this chat. It was so much fun.
It was very fun. Felly is an absolute vibe, and also I only realised afterwards that Felly rhymes with Ellie, because Ellie was like, right, we need to get someone called Rachel now.
And then your face was like, are you okay, hun? Like, what is going on? Do I need to call an ambulance? And I was like, Felly,
like the odd one out.
Sorry, you can't be in our cool club. Anyway, regardless of whether your name rhymes with Ellie and Felly, you are allowed to listen to this episode. We'll let you into the cool club. And hope you enjoy it.
Felly, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited to chat, and I'll speak for Ellie. She's excited as well, I'm sure. And I really feel like this is going to be one of those episodes where it's just like fun nerding out topic, which personally I'm really excited about. But before we go into content nerdery, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you offer and what you do for your clients?
I'm really not sure that nerdery is a word, but
You heard it first.
I'm gonna look this up because it's great, but I'm not sure.
We have that power. We'll make it happen between the three of us. Let's do it.
If you just keep repeating it. It's kind of like the motto of my business. But I'm Felly. I own a content repurposing agency, aka we turn one piece of content into multiple pieces of content and help people share their content on multiple platforms. Again, just repeating yourself until people believe you with what you're saying. I don't know. I'm like, you want the whole spiel, like how I started, or just like my business? Okay. I'm from Vancouver, Canada, but I hate snow. So I wanted to not live in my own country, and that's how I started a business. I spent the last 3 years in Mexico, where I met my now husband, the Frenchman, and I'm living in the south of France, but like we're not staying here because I don't like it. It's also just not hot enough. Honestly, no snow this year. So happy because I just can't handle it. But it's not hot enough. Last year, everyone was having the hottest summer on Earth, and it was like overcast, cloudy, like barely 20 degrees. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, my European summer is so disappointing.
Sign up for this.
Yeah.
On behalf of the continent, I apologize. I'm so sorry.
On behalf of the south of France, how is this the south of a country if you don't even have over 20 degrees in July?
I love the, like, when you do the whys for your business when you're like reconnecting with your North Star and stuff, and it's like the internal why and the external why. I love that your internal why was hate snow. Like, I love that so much. That is so baller. Fair fucks.
Well, yeah, people are always like, why don't you just like leave Vancouver? Because there's lots of reasons you don't live there. It's too expensive to live there. And I'm just like, yeah, but the rest of Canada is colder. So
riddle me that.
how do I choose another city when it gets colder the farther east you go?
I mean, I obviously don't love this for you, but I love this for us. This is great. What a brilliant reason. So that's how you started. That was the reason you started a business. What's the reason that you landed on kind of content repurposing as your main bag?
So I was the stereotypical track, general VA to niche down to niche down. I started as a general VA, and then I got a lot of content writing gigs. And through content writing and working with people on their content, I just learned like people don't know what they want, and they won't be happy outsourcing it because you can't really deliver something they'll like if they give you nothing to start with. And that's kind of how I started asking for reference pieces, which I eventually like learned about content repurposing, and I was like, okay, like this is all I do is content repurposing because I think it makes the best content. Like if you want to outsource it, if you just fill out a form for me of like, this is what I'm selling, this is what I'm talking about, like I think when I start with original content from you, I get your tone of voice, I get your messaging, and like it's better for me when I have the onboarding form that has ideal clients with like specifics in it, but like I have that content to pull their actual personality out of versus like trying to pull it out of a form. So yeah, content repurposing kind of became a necessity for me because I was just like, you're not happy with the content I'm creating, I'm not happy with the content I'm creating, like give me more. And repurposing was the more.
I love
that it wasn't even give me more, it was just like give me anything. Like,
yeah,
give me nothing. Love that.
It's so good. And also I love when you were like, it's the classic track of like niching down, niching down, niching down. And I think I feel like so many of us can relate to that. And it's often, you can never get to that place, I think, until you've done something for a while. And then you're like, oh, this is basically what I'm doing anyway. Like, why don't I just like call it, why don't I just name it? Why don't I just put a label on it? Because it makes so much more sense.
That's exactly what it is. Putting a label on it is that like makes your next level.
Yeah, totally. And the bonus point is that it means that people have something specific to think of when they think of you, which is genius. So yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. The other thing that I guess another label you use is unprofessional entrepreneurs. But I always struggle with the word.
You really put some French riz on it every time you say it.
It was the south of France.
Like, okay, ooh la la. Oui, oui.
Unprofessional entrepreneurs. Tell us about that. What do you mean? What do you mean by that in terms of who you work with?
Unprofessional entrepreneur is kind of a personal brand, kind of just a life philosophy. Like I wouldn't say my ideal clients for the agency are unprofessional entrepreneurs, but I would say that my community and the people I attract are unprofessional. Do you know? And like when it comes down to it, the best way to describe being unprofessional is that like you're paying for my brain, not my wardrobe. I will show up in whatever I want to show up in. I like when I lived in Mexico because it was warm. I was like always on my stories in a towel, in a bikini, like straight out the ocean with my hair all a mess. Like I would like record stories in bed, you know, like I don't believe in having to get ready to like be presentable and like wear a bra to have a conversation with someone. Like you're not paying for me to dress a certain way, and I'm much more productive when I'm comfortable, and like bras just aren't comfortable. So like that's my take on unprofessional. It's about like showing up as you are, I guess being authentic for lack of a better word, or I guess for a clearer word. But yeah, that's what it is. That's what I mean, and that's who I like to surround myself with.
I have to say, like, when I read it on your website, I was like, ah, she's for me. Okay. I understand. I was like I'm out here. I've been doing it, but I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. So yeah, I was going to say admired. It's weird to say like that was me, and then also like I really admire myself. Resonated. It resonated. Let's say. So let's talk content repurposing for all of us professional entrepreneurs. Rachel is, for Clara, just to let you know, Rachel is like a creative marketing strategist, and she fucking loves content and she fucking loves repurposing. So this is her wet dream, this conversation. I think the nerdery will be... I'm just going to sit out, actually, guys. I'm going to be prepared. I'll just watch.
In the other room.
I'll just interject, you know.
It's not, I love it, but I don't think I'm like super streamlined in my systems with it. So I think unprofessional entrepreneurs definitely fits there as well. Anyway, yes, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. So we obviously you've already touched on it and like why you got there in terms of your services, but what does repurposing content like allow people to do, like allow your clients to do?
Everything. I love that question because someone once asked me like, how is your service the answer to everything? And I was just like, because repurposing can solve it all.
What question? Like, sorry, what was the context of that question? On Shark Tank? What's going on?
No, it was like, I think I was in a mastermind, so I don't know if it was me or it was someone else, but it was like, when you're selling, you need to believe that your service is the answer to everything, and like everybody in this mastermind needs to believe it. So like this person who is famous for like email marketing, she's like, I believe email marketing is the answer to everything, and I believe I'm right. But you need to believe that content repurposing is the answer to everything, and you need to believe that you're right, because if you think that I'm right, then you're not gonna like sell yourself with as much confidence.
Mm-hmm. That's so good.
It's like stuck with me because I'm like, yeah, like content repurposing is the answer to every problem you come across in business. And like, you don't have to believe it, but I do. But yeah, so content repurposing, I specifically, like the people who come to my agency, they tend to want to be on multiple platforms to be building an omni-channel presence. And the way that content repurposing comes into that is like you can focus on your core content, your favorite content to create, like a podcast. And then my team comes in and we create everything else. We create your carousels, we create your captions, we create your emails, your blog posts. But then there's also the other side of it when you are someone who has been in business for years and you have so much content. It's not fun to like go back through your own content. And I see like a lot of people get imposter syndrome or just like end up hating the content and thinking it's worthless because like you're judging yourself so much. Like, I don't like my hair. I don't like the font I use. I shouldn't have worded it like that. Or like, I don't have that offer anymore. But like, it doesn't, just because you've pivoted and your business has expanded doesn't mean that old content is garbage. Like, generally, we're still sharing the same message. If I look at my content from 2019, I'm still sharing the same message as like content repurposing is the shit. I could still use that content. It's not super great because it's like an old phone. My hair was weird. I was like working on movie sets. So like I'm in like weird places all the time. But, you know, it's like that content's still relevant. And what's so important as we grow our business, as we continue as business owners, is to repeat ourselves. And I find it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, because we all want to like be creative in how we convey our message, but we just need to like keep repeating ourselves. And so even if you only wanted to show up on Instagram, but you wanted to stick to like creating daily stories instead of like creating the whole carousel post, then it's like you could give my team your old carousels, your old captions, because carousels didn't used to be a thing. And we can bring them forward to your new place in this world, your new messaging, your new branding, your new offers even, right? So I think content repurposing is the answer to everything, to answer your question.
I just two things to say. One, when you said you're in 2019, I was like, oh yeah, 2 years ago. That was 5 years ago, just to let everyone know. And also, when you just said carousels, yeah, you're welcome. We're all old. When you said that carousels once weren't a thing, I was like, what? And then I was like, oh yeah, I'd forgotten they're like relatively new in Instagram's history. That's just blown my mind. There was a time when we were just out there raw dogging the world with one slider post. That's insane. Those are my thoughts.
Reels also didn't exist, right? So that's also...
That was a better time.
And so
Just thinking
I'd be happy to go back to that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I mean, you've made the argument very well for it being the answer to
I'm
everything.
convinced. I'd give you money like they do on Shark Tank. We don't have Shark
Yeah.
Tank, but I'd
in.
give you a shark. I don't know how these things work.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think I just want to pick up on what you were saying about the fear of repeating ourselves, because I think I completely agree. It's like the idea of repurposing for so many people is like, oh yeah, I must do that. I really need to do that. I've got all this stuff. But it isn't like a sexy task, is it? Like, it's really just like feels quite...
I would say it's actively unsexy when you're staring at yourself. You're like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think part of that is that, you know, as creatives, often the exciting stuff is the new stuff. So not only is it sort of like laborious to go through, you know, your old stuff and like see your old phone or your old hair or whatever, it's also like, oh, I just feel like I've said that already. And yeah, it's just so... The thing that is sexy about it is like the freedom that it can give you, I think, because like so many people talk about how content just sucks up all of their time. But if every piece of content you're creating is just for that one time, or like you post it in a couple of ways and that's it, then you're just missing out on like a whole world of potential. So yeah, it is the answer to everything. Completely agree.
Sold to the lady. Let's go.
I love that. So in terms of you mentioned like the form and stuff and like the process, but can we dive a little bit more into like how people can best work with you in terms of like that repurposing, like what makes a good post to repurpose, or like what makes a good like source material?
Yeah, I think per your last note, like repurposing a lot of the times ends up as a would be nice task instead of like a must do task. And that's where like looking at your content a little more critically can make it clearer on like how important this is. And I always say the most important, if you have it, type of content to create, if you don't have it, create it, is the content that focuses on your frameworks, on your processes, on your systems, depending on like what kind of services you offer. So like for my content repurposing, we have the CPIA framework. So content that talks about that framework, I repurpose first because I want everyone to know and understand, be able to follow, and like hit it from every single angle, whether it's like limiting belief or inspiration or testimonial. Like I'm going to take everyone through this framework 100 million times so that you look at me and you know, and you hear CPIA and you're like, I know exactly what that is. And so if you have content like that, that should be top of your list to repurpose. If you don't have content like that, I strongly recommend you go create some. But the other thing to do is to look at your data, to look at what are people commenting on, what are people saving, what are people sharing the most. Not big fan of likes because people blind like everything. But comments, I think, are one of the most important because you can see what they said about the post. And so if people are reading and they're saying like, wow, this really resonated with me, or wow, I never thought of it like that, that's a great piece of content to repurpose because somebody needs to hear it said a different way. And so like those are the two places I recommend like starting. And then of course being aware of like what's your 90-day marketing strategy? Like what are you selling? What are you focusing on? Like what do you want from your audience in the next 90 days on this platform? Are you looking to generate leads? Are you teasing? Are you selling? Are you just in the nurturing phase, right? So you have to bring that in when you're deciding what content as well.
This is so up Rachel's street. It's unreal. It is
Yeah.
unreal. How
I'm basking.
She's
In the
just having a great time. She's having a straight up great time.
I was trying to be cool, but now you've ruined it.
So
Thanks very much.
Sorry. Felly, she hates you. She doesn't care. I'm so sorry. Have I averaged it out now?
Hello, friend. Rachel here with a fun announcement and a secret special offer just for podcast listeners. This week, I've finally opened up a self-paced version of my most popular Pinterest program, Ignite Your Pinterest Strategy. This has been a long time coming and probably my most requested offer ever, and it's finally ready. So far, it's only been open to my email list, but I'm also opening it up to you as treasured pod pals. To celebrate the evergreen version finally being open, I'm offering you £100 off until Friday, 17th of May. So if you've had learning Pinterest with me on your to-do list for ages, but the live versions of Ignite haven't been right for you for any reason, then this is for you. Go to the secret link in our show notes to get your special discount before the 17th, and I will see you inside Ignite in the evergreen version for the first time ever.
Can we ask what your framework is? Is it something that we can dive into now that you can talk about? Or is it just such a massive oof that you're like, I've simply not got time to check out all my posts on it, please?
Oh no, it's super simple. It's content, platform, intention, angles. So what content you choose to repurpose, what platforms you want to show up on, what are your intentions for those platforms, and then using different angles to basically like put in front of your content as a lens to repurpose it into new content. I have a private podcast that like goes deep into that you can like put in the show notes, but I think it's straightforward. But yeah.
I love the angles element of that. Like, I feel like
it's what changes it for everyone.
Yeah, like the idea of like seeing something 360 and then being able to just like pull out so many different bits from it. Sepia all the way, baby.
Yeah, so fun. Also,
that's your motto, isn't it? That's what you say.
Side note, I feel like private podcasts are very much a thing at the moment. I feel like it feels like a very
we were
fun
chumps
thing
for making this
doing.
public and free.
I mean, I knew I wanted to create a new lead magnet basically all of last year because I didn't like the one I had. It wasn't relevant. And I had it mapped out forever. And basically like November, December, it was on my to-do list every single week. And then January, I was like, it needs to be a private podcast. Like, I hate designing things. Why am I trying to make a workbook? Like, this is why it's taken me 2 months to make a 10-page workbook. And then I like made the private podcast in like 2 weeks.
Always the same.
Yeah.
So funny, isn't it? The things that we try and force ourselves into. Like, yes, it must be this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love that. So funny. Well, yes, Ellie, you are right. I am absolutely having a whale of a time. So to go back into the repurposing goodness, any tips for people repurposing their content aside from that like top level, like once they feel like, okay, we've got our frameworks stuff, we know what people are commenting on, like any tips aside from getting your good self involved?
I mean, yeah, hiring me is the best option.
Yeah. To everything, some may say.
I would say knowing your intentions is a big thing for me. And I think that's where, like, I don't believe that content repurposing is copy pasting. I don't believe that copy pasting your Instagram caption to your email is effective content repurposing. I think if you want to be effective, you need to know, like, what's the intention of my email list? What's the intention of my Instagram feed posts? What's the intention of my Instagram stories? and go from there, because that's going to be how you decide like which angles are more important to hit when you're repurposing, but also like which content's more relevant, which stories to tell, where to focus. Because if you're trying to sell on Instagram, but you want to nurture on email, and your reels are for lead generation, like you're not putting a lead generation post as an email to your email list that already knows you and like also can't reach outside people. And I think that's where a lot of people fail when it comes to content repurposing, or don't see results, I guess, instead of failing, because they're putting content that had the intention of lead generation onto a platform that's for nurturing, and it's not producing any results.
I'm going to recommend to everyone, because what I was about to say was stop listening to this podcast and go listen to your private podcast. Obviously, ideally people would finish listening to our podcast first. But then, yeah, we'll definitely put it in the show notes, because I think this is I really like the way you've broken it down, because I think a lot of people do think of repurposing as just like, oh, copy and paste, or like, oh, saying exactly the same thing but just with a different Canva graphic or whatever. Whereas I think when you, as you say, when you break it down into the kind of the intentions and the angles and you focus on that, then you get your, not only repurposing generally is getting your own work to work smarter, getting yourself to work smarter, not harder. It feels like doing it in this lens is like another level of that. It's getting it to work even smarter. Yeah, so let's all be intentional. Let's do it. I've just decided we're all going to do it. If I put my mind to something, guys, it's done. I speak for Rachel. Rachel spoke for me earlier, so I'm going to speak for her now. Because that's just the relationship we have. We are one. We always joke that we're like two halves of one brain. Like sometimes when we're doing a recording, I'll look at her and I just know that she's about to say something, or like I know what she's about to say. So I feel confident in this. That your focus on energy on your website, I really love. Like I really love that on your about page, you've got your astrological signs and also your human design. Yes. I love that. Can you just talk to us a bit about why you decided to include those things, why you think it's so important? I really love that approach that you've got.
Oh, I'm like, there's so many reasons. It's strange. When I started as a general VA, like you end up filling out a lot of people's like job application forms, even though you're supposed to be a business owner. And so often people would say like, what's your human design? What's your Myers-Briggs? What's your colors? I don't know. I ended up taking so many personality tests on this journey to fill out people's applications. But I also constantly get people who are in the human design world coming to me and saying, I'm hiring you because you're a projector. Or I know that like because you're a Gemini with this house, I don't know. That's why I relate with you, because everyone takes what they want when they look at you, right? Like we can all present ourselves a certain way, but everyone's putting you through the lens of their life experience and taking what they want out of it. So I'm not someone who's big on like work experience, on, I don't know, like credentials, I guess. I'm more of like a life experience person. And so things like that, like presenting my person instead of like, here's this piece of paper that I have. I don't actually have any paper. I didn't go to university. Instead of being like, here's my years of work in hospitality, which I think has no bearing whatsoever because I was shit at it. Same. I have no patience. I have no patience for people. I can tell you I worked on...
Hospitality is the worst job if that's the case. People
Yeah. I mean, working in Canada, like you just have to like grin and bear it. And then I went to Australia where you could like literally tell people to shove it. And then I went back to Canada and I was like, I can't do it. Anyways, yeah, and like working on film sets is a cool story, but it's not relevant to being a marketer. So I just like don't really believe in like work experience as my value in life, and telling you the countries I visited doesn't seem as relevant either. So this is like something that people like to know about you, that people find interesting, that people find a way to understand you better as well. And at the end of the day, people hire you for you. Like I think I'm the best content repurposer out there, but there's a lot of other people offering the same service, right? So if you're someone who's into spirituality and you relate with me because you're a manifesting generator and you think projectors help you calm down, like, cool, let's chat. I know my personality. If this is something that's going to help you make your decision or like want to get on a call with me, like, I'm going to help you see who I am.
I think that's so important, especially like for a job that's like collaborative, like work is. I think it's really, and it is hard, isn't it, to get across not just like what you do, but who you are. So I love that kind of, I really want to do my human design thing. I feel like I'd never heard of it before. I think maybe like Canada and America might have been ahead of the UK, because I feel like everyone now is getting into human design, but I'd never heard of it before. Maybe just in business circles at least. But I want to know everything. I want to know what's going on and what I am, and I need
it's
it
really
to happen
interesting.
expeditiously.
I find this so interesting.
Yeah,
it's your birth chart. You put in like your time of birth, your birthday, and like there's websites that will tell you. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of information in it, so other people can like read it for you and explain like what this means, what that means. Like I'm a 6/2, so like the 6 means this, the 2 means this, being a projector means that, being self-projected means this, right? But then there's also like gates, and like there's so much to it. But if you go on like what's my human design into Google, you'll be able to like just enter your birth information and get that generic information straight up.
I think every 6 months I find a new astrological thing and I text my mum like, what time was I born? And she was like, same time as last time. You asked. What time was that though? I need to know. Yeah. Have you had yours done, Rach? Do you know yours?
I've done exactly as Felly's just said. I did. I googled what is my human.
Since when did we start doing things independently? Since when did we start having solo adventures?
Sorry, I don't know if you just heard my Google Home going off in the background. I said Google.
I thought someone was talking to you.
It was my little Google Home, and then I was like, I couldn't really hear it. I was like, what's going on? Sorry, I completely exited my body for a second. That's all I've done. So I know I'm a reflector, but I feel like...
Ooh, that's very rare.
That's what people keep telling me, but I don't...
It's like 2% of the population.
Okay.
Like extremely rare.
Now. If Rachel's shiny, I'm going to end up as like the most... I'm going to end up as a manufacturer or whatever the most common one is.
I feel like that's as far as I've got, though. Like, I did the test and I read the thing, and actually I was like, yeah, I do resonate with a lot of this. But I'm like really curious now, because I'm like, I really want to dive into it more, because I feel like loads of people are really like structuring their whole businesses around like this stuff, and that's so up my street. I know this is a total tangent, but can you tell us about what, because I don't know anything about projectors. What's some of the cliff notes? I know there's like loads into it, but what's some of the stuff about projectors?
Projectors are generally people that can, I'm like, please don't quote me because I'm not a human design expert, but like, in my experience, projectors are people that kind of see the whole of a picture. So like when I was in virtual assistant work, people are like, oh, you're not meant to be a doer. Like you're meant to be like an overseer. You're meant to be a leader. But at the same time, and like where a lot of projectors get blocked is our strategy. I'm like not going to explain human design terms. Our strategy is to wait for permission. And so that means that like I, for lack of a better word, like seek validation before going and explaining things or before like acting on things. And another struggle is that like as someone who has so much wisdom to share, I need to wait for permission to share it. So like if I see someone struggling, it won't help them or me if I just go and be like, this is what's wrong with you. Like I need them to ask me how they can improve, right? And so that's like a projector's mode of operating is the like waiting for permission. But something that like I've learned as an entrepreneur and just like living my life as a projector is the permission can come in all sorts of forms. So like if I'm listening to a podcast in the morning and it's talking about something that I already wanted to do, like that's my permission. I don't need someone to literally tell me, right? And so I think I'm trying to remember other profiles. Like I know like manifesting generator and generators is wait to respond. So like they respond really well to like Q&As, to like people asking them questions, like that like can get them like activated. I don't know anything about reflectors because it's so rare. I think I know like 2. out of everybody that I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think the one that I always
This is
feel really
badly for me.
You need to do yours. Do yours and tell me.
I'm not, Felly, I'm not gonna be a reflector. We all know that to be true.
You don't need to be a reflector.
I'd like to be special.
I mean, projectors is the second most rare, so I feel special.
Yeah.
Okay,
The thing from what I've read that I always feel really generous? No, I always feel really jealous of is I can't remember if it's generators or manifesting generators, but the one who basically like they get an idea and they do it, because
That's
that is
generator.
not me. Like
I know.
It's same as like the waiting for permission thing. I think one of the reflector things is like you've got to like really reflect on it and like take it all in, and
It has to like come from within or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that is you as hell. Yeah.
it is me. It's so me. Like literally, I'll like have an idea and I'll think about it for a year until I do it, and it is the most frustrating thing. Anyway, all very
No, I get it. When I was first starting, I felt like all the entrepreneurs were generators, and like generator was just like conducive to being a successful entrepreneur because they didn't have to wait for anything. They could just go. And I was like, why do I need a nap? Like my energy isn't rechargeable. You know, and it's just like, I think, like you said at the beginning, like with human design, with all of the personality tests, all of the tests out there, like you can read your answers and you can find bits and pieces that relate for you. Like you take what you need from it. And so like for me in the beginning, being a projector, it was like it's okay to rest. Like I don't have infinite energy. If I need to take a nap in the middle of a project, I'm going to take a nap, because forcing myself to do it isn't actually going to be productive. It's going to actually make it worse, you know? And like, that was like what I needed from my human design when I like first learned about it. Same like with astrology, with Myers-Briggs, all of those. So take what you need. I think you should do yours, Ellie.
Yeah.
I cancelled the rest of the day. Emailed my clients. Like, sorry, I'm incommunicado. I'm offline. I'm designing. Speaking of the rest of the day, we need to let you get back to your lovely sunny south of France. So if you
It is actually sunny.
Well listened.
That's the power we have. Again, how many more times I need to tell you? Can you tell people how they can find you, where they can find you online, and also how they can work with you in content repurposing, like what your services actually look like for the common person like us?
I don't really work with the common person. I work more with the business owner.
I can be multiple things, Felly. Don't put me in a box.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram and Threads. I'm probably more active on Threads right now, which is kind of funny, but I'm just Felly Day. My website, fellyday.com. My podcast is The Unprofessional Entrepreneur, where I just like ramble about being unprofessional. That's not true. I talk a lot about marketing and content repurposing and content creation, just all the good stuff. What was my other thing? Oh, and then of course the lead magnet turn 1 into 10. It's the one that goes through the Sepia, the private podcasts that it'll be in the show notes. But yeah, so I have 2 ways to work with my agency. We have the remix, which is you give us 10 links to your existing content and we give you 100 ideas to content you can create. That's like an Airtable base that we have a 7-day delivery, turnaround, whatever. And so like we give you like a hook, bullet points of like what you could focus on, what we were thinking when we gave you that idea, and then like the intention behind it, what type of content we're recommending you create. And you just get like an Airtable base of 100 content ideas to either create yourself or give to your team. And then the other way to work with us is Repurposing Unlimited, which is done for you content repurposing. So we have a 3-month retainer. You come in, you tell us like, these are the platforms I want you to create for. Whether you're looking to take a break from content completely or you want to only focus on one of your platforms and still show up everywhere else is your choice. But yeah, we do actually an hourly package, which is like kind of controversial, but I don't really believe in the set deliverables when it comes to content creation, because no one's business needs the exact same thing. And when I tried to sell the package of like 4 blog posts, 8 emails, and 16 captions, everyone was like, well, I don't want blog posts. I don't want emails. Like, I want this. What about that? Right. So now we just do 10 hours of repurposed content. You can ask for whatever you like. We do short form videos, emails, blogs, social media captions, and carousels. We don't do design, but we like do the write out in the form of carousels. And so yeah, like that's our done for you repurposing and a content ideation offer.
Good.
Love that.
The answer to everything, some may say.
Some would say, and I would believe them.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Felly. It's been an absolute joy to have you.
It has been amazing. Loved it just as much
Agreed.
as I thought I would.
Imagine if Rachel was like, really, really thought I was going to enjoy this, but I'm really disappointed by the outcome.
Disappointed by your answers.
It's just not a topic that I enjoy talking about.
You ruined content for me.
No, it was amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. All right. That's it for this week's episode. If you enjoyed listening, please go and give the original host, the interviewer, a follow, a look. All the links will be down in the show notes. And as always, you're welcome to come find me on Instagram, on Threads, if you have any questions or want to talk about repurposing your content. As always, I want to love you and leave you, and don't forget to stay unprofessional.